This is Las Vegas Real Estate Now, where we bring you the 3 E's: educate, empower, and engage. I'm your host, Harvey Blankfeld, and we've been selling homes here in Southern Nevada since 1988. We're also very proud to be part of the Real Estate Radio Network. That is a national network of local real estate professionals delivering timely, balanced truths about local market conditions. And we also have Kari Phillips from RateWise Mortgage. She's been doing this mortgage stuff for the last 18 years. She has an MBA and also a bachelor's in marketing. You know, one of the big things that happens in the midst of a transaction is, and especially particularly when people are getting a loan, is we have to have the home appraised. And while there's some subjectivity to it, there's also rules that appraisers need to follow. Can we talk a little bit about that?
A few rules, yeah. I mean, let's talk about comparable sales because, you as an agent know that when you're trying to develop a sales price, you go off what the listing agent probably puts on the MLS, and then you make sure that it's, and I'm saying what you've taught me.
Yeah.
You
pull the comparables.
You pull the comps and figure out which ones you use. And you as an experienced agent, you know that you can't use a comp that, in Henderson, that if you're buying a Summerlin home.
Yeah, not a good idea.
Well, an appraiser has to use the rules of, in suburban neighborhoods, the comps have got to be within a 1 mile radius. If it's rural, they can go all the way up to 5. But they're going to use those comps if we're talking about a Henderson home within a 1 mile radius of that home, similar like properties. And then if the appraiser has to go outside the 1 mile because there aren't any recent sales of the similar property, they have to justify why. They have to explain that in the appraisal report.
The appraiser's job, simply put, is to protect the lender's interest in the property to make sure the house is worth what we're selling it for, so that the lender feels comfortable loaning that amount of money. That's the main reason for the appraisal.
You can look at it that way. That's probably that's how you probably should look at it. But if I'm a buyer, I also think it's a protection of, am I overpaying for a home, or am I paying a price that's right? Mm-hmm. Going off of my agent's advice, going off of comps, and then I feel really good about having an appraiser that is done by a licensed person to make sure that I'm not overpaying, or what I am paying for, I'm aware of what the value is, and I'm getting all the information ahead of time before I sign those loan documents. One thing I thought was interesting that the gentleman said earlier is that if you have a short sale being used as a comp, and you could fight that and win.
Absolutely.
He said that some appraisers, they use those short sales, and it's just not the right comp to use for a going market value of a home. A couple of the things that go into, you talked about factual data going into, certainly, the location we talked about, the features, the age of the home, that's considered, the condition of the home, is it, how's it holding up? And then the upgrades. I will say that every appraiser that I've spoken to, they don't give dollar for dollar for the upgrades and add it to their report. So what do you mean when I spend
$40,000 on the pool, I'm not going to get $40,000 credit for my appraisal?
No. One thing also that the appraiser looks at is, are there any possible health and safety issues? Is the home safe to live in? Are there any hazardous things? Things like an empty pool, a broken window, exposed wiring, a hole in the wall. These are things that could hurt children, hurt people,
right.
And those things need to be fixed prior to closing escrow. We do have an escrow holdback program, but we won't get into that. But it does normally have to be completed before funding.
They're called appraisal conditions. We've seen them as appraisal conditions. I just got one for a sink, need to be repaired because it was leaking.
You've been listening to Las Vegas Real Estate Now with host Harvey Blankfeld. Please tune in every Saturday at 11 a.m. right here on News Talk 720 KDWN.